affect thousands and millions of people in this country. And that single shilling, that single cent outside there, which is process of crime, do you stop to think the devastating or the impact it will have in this country in form of security, in form of provision of health, in form of provision of education to our people, in form of even management and governance. Because as you said, once we get involved in issues which amount to corruption and illicit money, we are dealing a blow to an hospital somewhere. We are dealing a blow to a child somewhere in Turkana, somewhere in Kitui, somewhere in Kilifi, who will be affected by our single stroke of the pen. When you are signing that check to go, or even you are signing online, it takes a second or two. Those 2 seconds you are taking to sign off a payment to someone who has not done his job of building a hospital in Isiolo, do you stop to think the number of people you affect in that county? Do you stop to think the number of people you are affecting across the country in 2 seconds? So that is what I think we should have as a basis of fighting corruption. You know, the courts come at the tail end. From the time the idea is conceived, the court is not near. It goes to perfection through procurement, the court is not even aware. Then comes in the regulatory bodies and investigative bodies, the law enforcement agencies. The moment they start, they pick that pen or flip the paper to do the investigations. That is where case is lost or won. Cases are not won in court. They are won at the early stages of investigations, the early stages of performance, and the early stages of the deals we do. I know I have heard from our introductions here that we come from different institutions. We have people from the county government, we have people from the DCI, people from ESCC, we have people from the assets recovery. We are here to dialogue about capacity building and financial investigations and assets recovery. And we know, and I have seen it, our roles overlap, especially when we are dealing with assets recovery. We may have ESCC roles overlapping with assets recovery, overlapping with DCI. When we get such a situation, who holds the fort? Who should rush to our courts? And we say, anyone who comes before us, we will not say this is the role of ESCC. We shall deal with it according to the evidence produced before us. But there's a problem there. If that role overlaps and the DCI is not ready to help ESCC, the ODPP is not ready to approve the charges which have been recommended by ESCC, or the assets recovery is not ready to bring to court the evidence it has gotten from the DCI. Yes, courts, what do we do ourselves? We cannot tell you go back and do these investigations. That is work of ODPP. We cannot summon the ODPP to come and explain why they did not amend charge, which of course was obviously wrongly drafted. We cannot summon guys from ESCC to come and explain why they have not sued people in Migori or Homa Bay, why they chose to sue those in Kitui. Ours as a court is to deal with what has been brought before us and according to the law and evidence. And when I say a case is lost during investigations or during the drawing of the charges, I do not mean that those people are lethargic or those people are compromising. I'm talking about the attention given to that investigations. I'm talking about the capacity of the persons who are dealing with it. I'm talking about the knowledge or know-how of the people who are dealing with that. And that is why I welcome this dialogue, among others, that as we discuss on how to deal with these issues, let's build each other in terms of expertise, in terms of technology, in terms of technical know-how, and that is why it is important to have a dialogue like the one we have today. If you feel from the office of ESCC that it is the ODPP which is the weak link, I believe it is high time, even if you are not saying it here, during tea time, Mr. Giri is here. Call him and tell him, please do this. Go and tie some strings somewhere. If you still feel that it is the court which is the weak link, it is important to sit down and dialogue outside the formal, our formal way of doing things, outside the formal office, and give us an idea and tell us where things don't go right. And at this juncture, I would also urge the players in the justice system, especially the ODPP, our customers, we call them customers, our clients who come to anti-corruption court, to attend our, what we usually call our CUCs. They are very important. Court users committees. That is where we get ideas as a court where things should be tightened up, not referring to a specific case. In order to, in our efforts to curb the corruption and money laundering, I don't think we have to define that here because we know what it means. Our efforts are geared to, because we have realized that it is, criminal enterprise is very complex. Sometimes to get hold, you can get hold of Musyoki and is a drug dealer. He traffics in human, he traffics in wildlife trophy. But to prove that case in a criminal court, it becomes difficult because of what we call standards of proof. Things get tough. You may even have, during the investigations, forgotten to include what we call electronics evidence certificate, a simple document, or somehow in the process of gathering the evidence, the evidence is gathered illegally. We have a product that we call illegally acquired evidence, which in that case, and without the electronic certificate, will not be admissible in court. And when it is not admissible, that means that criminal will get away. But when we come to assets recovery, we lower, the law has lowered the bar. The bar is low. You may not come with those certificates. You may not come with proof of how you got that evidence. But we concentrate on the property when we are dealing with the assets recovery. We concentrate on the property. We say it's okay. We have a building, a house where Musyoki has a 16-story building, but we cannot prove that he acquired it using proceeds of crime, or he acquired it using money from corruption. But at that point, we say, we know your salary as a judge, we know how much you earn from your small shop. Now these assets you have are going to billions. Now the law says, once that is established, it is for me now to explain how I got that wealth. And many times, people who have got wealth through illicit means do not have an explanation why. No criminal will come and say, I sold cannabis. No criminal will come and say, I was dealing with elephant tusk. Nobody will come and say, I got this money as kickback in supply of medical equipment. So once you are not able to show us the legitimate wealth, the law presumes that that is a process of crime, and we forfeit it to the state. And but the idea behind is this: we must constrict the criminal enterprise. We must hold them and prevent them from enjoying the fruits of their criminal enterprise. Once we stop them from enjoying that, we are giving an incentive to the participants, and we are taking this money back to the people or to the government. My only problem, and this has been a challenge, and everywhere I'm talking about this, I usually say, especially to EACC and ARA, it's okay, we are going to recover these billions for you, and we forfeit it to the state. Will we have another vicious circle of the millions we have recovered going the wrong way again? Then you come back to me, I recover again. So those are issues which we may need to discuss as we move on, and as we collaborate. I've already said that there could be some overlaps. So we will call upon the justice system regulators and players to collaborate, to cooperate, and to work together in order to achieve this noble idea of fighting corruption and money laundering. Once that is done, we shall deal with issues which takes us back. Because every time we participate in corruption or we launder money, we are talking of deferred dreams which have not been achieved, unrealized potentials of the country, like this beautiful country of ours and others across the world. We are dealing a blow to the future generation. We are dealing a blow to our mothers, to our sisters. If we think like that, I think we'll be able to deal with this issue without much problems. The idea and my kick is that money laundering and corruption starts with an individual. Even before you come to court, even before we call DCI, we need that soul searching amongst ourselves. See every other person as your child. When you are dealing with issues in Homa Bay County, ask yourself, if it were my daughter who is not getting treatment in a hospital because of my own acts, how will I feel and how will I judge myself? So as we do the soul searching, let us collaborate, call upon the regulators and the law enforcement agencies. Even before you reach court, try to do the right thing and with the competency it deserves. So as I finish, I want to thank those who have organized this forum for coming up with this idea of dialogue, and let's be open to each other without any hindrance amongst ourselves. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Judge. I think you have left us with a lot of soul searching, isn't it? First, he has asked for closer collaboration between anti-corruption agencies in the criminal justice system, especially between EACC and the Asset Recovery Agency. He has talked about when you take decisions to confer a benefit illegally to yourself, look at the impact of those decisions and the ramifications it has for our future and the future of our children. There is no better way of putting it, and I want to thank you so much for those very important reflections. Let's give him a round of applause. At this juncture, allow me to invite Mr. Geoffrey Obiri, Senior Assistant Director of Public Prosecution, to make a statement.
Okay, thank you. Good morning. Well, allow me to write on the protocol which has already been established before I make my remarks, or remarks on behalf of the Director of Public Prosecutions, who could not make it because of other engagements. I want to thank the previous presenter, who is the Honorable Judge, Honorable Musyoki, for giving us that encouragement that cases are won during investigations and not even during trial. So if something goes wrong during investigations, it's as good as we have lost it. So that is the very essence of this meeting, that let's get it right during investigations. And this cannot be achieved if we work in silos. Let us cooperate, let us coordinate, and let us work together. In fact, we have to work together. We must work together, or we failed, all of us as a group. Allow me to go straight to the remarks of the Director of Public Prosecutions. This stakeholder dialogue and the capacity building workshop on financial investigations and asset recovery has come at an opportune time and provides that opportunity to share experiences, information, and lessons learned on the fight against corruption, money laundering, terrorism financing, and illicit financial flows. Ladies and gentlemen, these offenses undermine the security, economic, social, and financial systems of our nation, and therefore requires coordinated and cooperative intelligence approach. I think this is the language we are all speaking, and I think we are reading from the same script. It must be coordinated, it must be cooperative if we are to succeed. The need to strengthen interagency cooperation and cooperation among law enforcement agencies, that is the judiciary, the financial intelligence, and investigation agencies in Kenya, is very essential. It is my commitment that the ODPP will continue to strengthen partnerships which will provide solutions to ensure seamless, efficient mechanisms and respond to the current challenges to fight corruption, terrorism, and money laundering. This workshop will enrich all of us and enhance our individual and joint efforts towards successful prosecution of offenders and confiscation of proceeds of crime and instrumentalities. This forum, therefore, highlights the significance of our resolve to empower each other and with requisite skills and fostering interagency cooperations amongst each other in information sharing and addressing corruption, financial crimes, and criminal networks. Further, there is need to highlight the significance of improving victim protection. And I think victim protection is basically our witnesses. Remember, if you don't have a witness, you don't have a case. So we must protect our witnesses also. Also, I must emphasize the value of cooperation through formal and informal contacts. In this context, the ODPP Strategic Plan 2023-2027 takes cognizance of cooperation as a strategic objective. This is very intentional in the ODPP Strategic Plan, and the cooperation and cooperation with other agencies of like-minded, like the ones represented here, is very core to us because we can't achieve it alone. Additionally, we must vigorously pursue assets and proceeds of crime so that individuals and entities involved are denied access to illicit financial benefits which fund their activities. An effective and strengthened prosecution encompasses a standardized approach in investigations and the judicial processes, which we must strive to achieve and improve. It is my belief that at the end of the workshop, through knowledge sharing, we'll be equipped and have capacity to detect, investigate financial crimes, develop better methods of deterring financial crimes, lower the risk associated with financial crimes, and enhance cooperation, which will in turn result in effective and successful prosecution. I don't know how many times I've mentioned cooperation and cooperation. I think it should be more than 10 times. And you can see how the DPP really is keen to have cooperation and cooperation with other agencies in the fight of these fights. Finally, I wish to thank EACC and UNODC for preparing this critical and important forum. In conclusion, let us utilize this forum to build synergies and mechanisms to formally and informally fight these vices. Thank you so much. That's from the DPP.
Thank you, Mr. Obiri. I think he has talked coordination and collaborative effort. Nothing less, nothing more. And that's what we want to nurture here as we move forward towards fighting illicit financial flows, corruption, and other crimes. I want to take this opportunity to invite Mr. Abdallah Komesha, who is the Director Investigation of DCI, to make a short statement on behalf of the DCI. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Okongo, for inviting us. I'm here on behalf of the Director of Criminal Investigations, who was supposed to be here, but due to exigence of duties, was not able to attend. Now, Criminal Investigation Department deals with all the crimes, and most of them generate proceeds. I can give examples as human trafficking, arms trafficking, trafficking of animal trophies and skins, anti-narcotics, frauds, that is banking frauds, capital markets frauds, frauds in the national government and county government, land fraud, robberies, murders. All these crimes generate proceeds, and we have dedicated units to deal with such crimes. And in that process, we also follow the money. Because in every crime, there is benefit. And most of the time, the benefit is money. So where is this money? So we collaborate with the Asset Recovery Unit. We collaborate with the ODPP to get hold of the assets. We have also dedicated units like anti-terrorism police unit that deals with terrorism financing. We have financial investigation unit that deals with money laundering and ensure that all crimes that are investigated, there is a parallel file on financial investigation. These two units are key in dealing with illicit financial flows. They have well-trained officers and equipped to deal with money laundering and terrorism financing. So let me go straight to the remarks by the Director of Criminal Investigations. Financial crimes have evolved beyond backroom operations. It is now a sophisticated global network and deeply embedded within both public and private sector. So it means this problem is not only in the public sector, even in the private sector. And sometimes they collude to commit the crimes. Proceeds of crimes are no longer concealed under mattresses. These proceeds must be utilized. And how can they be utilized? They have to ensure that they are now channeled to the formal financial system. That is the banking system, the mobile banking system, and also converting this money into foreign currency. They have gone further now. They have become more sophisticated. They are now investing in cryptocurrency and Bitcoin. So it is becoming more complex for investigators to follow and recover this money. It is also channeled to safe havens where you cannot recover, where the process of recovery is very complex. So that is their target. The 2022 Kenya Mutual Evaluation Report highlighted a critical gap that investigative agencies have no competent authority. That is including the DCI, that they have not prioritized financial investigations in their normal investigation. So we are now supposed to identify, trace, and investigate money laundering, terrorism financing, and proceeds of crime in all of our investigation files. It's a huge task. That's why we have formed the Financial Investigation Unit to deal with that. As the lead agency investigating money laundering and terrorism financing, I told you that we have an anti-terrorism police unit and major predicate offenses, including organized crime. In fact, most of the crimes that the DCI is dealing with are organized. You can mention any: anti-narcotics, organized; terrorism, organized; human trafficking, organized; robberies and murders, they're all organized. People are paid to murder. After committing robbery, where do you take the money? So, as a lead agency, we have a huge task to do. So the DCI has institutionalized parallel financial investigation, both as a policy directive and as an operational priority. So it is a policy that for any file that is opened, there must be a parallel file to deal with the proceeds, to follow the proceeds. So this workshop is therefore exceptionally timely, as it will strengthen our collective capabilities in core areas, including money laundering techniques, because these bad guys, they are using new techniques as we go along so that they conceal the proceeds. So we must be updated, we must sharpen our skills to keep pace with these bad boys or girls. So we share more on intelligence, both internally and also regionally. We also expect to strengthen the legal and institutional frameworks so that these frameworks can support investigation, so that investigation can be smooth. We have a lot of hurdles nowadays in investigation. We want to investigate, we are taken to court, we are barred from investigating, or we want to charge somebody, we want to arrest, we are barred from arresting, we want to charge, we also restricted, or the person is said not to take plea. So there's a lot of freedom that has been given to the suspects, more than the victims. So in closing, I once again reiterate my sincere gratitude to the organizers, that is anti-corruption. Together we can build a Kenya where integrity prevails and public resources are safeguarded for the benefit of all citizens. So thank you, and may this workshop mark a turning point in our fight against financial crimes. This is Mohammed Amin, Director of Criminal Investigations. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Komesha, for those remarks. I think he has talked about the need to enhance capacity building for financial crime investigation, prosecution, and adjudication. Now I want to request Mr. CPA Philip Cheboyo to come forth and make a short statement on behalf of the Auditor General. We must also bear in mind the programs that are coming in front. So time is of essence and it's not on our side. Welcome, Mr. Cheboyo. Yes. Yes, welcome.
Thank you. Let me request that I read on the protocols that has been established. As you have heard, I'm Cheboyo Philip, Director of Audit from the Office of the Auditor General. I'm here on behalf of the Auditor General, who was not able to come because of other commitments. I want first to thank the EACC and the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime for organizing this workshop and stakeholder engagement or dialogue and capacity building on investigations and asset recovery. The Office of the Auditor General is a key stakeholder in the oversight of public resources. Is mandated by the Constitution of Kenya, Article 229(6), that we audit and report on the use of public resources, whether it has been used for the purpose it was intended in an effective and in a lawful way. And the investigations and asset recovery is a critical area in trying to recover proceeds of crime. And as a key stakeholder, the Office of the Auditor General also support or collaborate with these agencies in doing their mandate. Specifically, the auditor is given the responsibilities of trying to find ways in the systems of institutions and the governance where there are loopholes. We are not actually mandated to follow or to check on fraud, but we, when we are carrying out the audit, we have to keep in mind that something may go wrong when we are doing the audit, so that we inform the management and also look at the areas that there could be some issues that may indicate, or risk or red flags that may indicate that there is fraud or loss of money. Over the years, the Auditor General, Office of the Auditor General has continued to point out areas of risk through our risk assessment and the reports that we make to Parliament. And these reports, with the collaboration of investigative agencies and other government agencies, they use these reports for investigation and also to follow the proceeds of crime. We know that the environment that we are in is changing rapidly, or the areas that we are working in is changing rapidly. The anti-money laundering space has actually evolved. There are new technologies and AI that actually we are supposed to be aware of. And the investigators and the asset recovery should be cognizant of these areas so that they can be able to recover. The emergence of crypto and AI assets, AI, artificial intelligence, and in relation to the regulatory environment that we are in, there could be some loopholes. So this discussion and the workshop should actually be able to look at those loopholes and in particular check on the emergence of the cryptocurrency platforms that allow anonymous transactions to take place and let users access funds quickly. There is also crypto platforms which operate outside the traditional banking structures, which are required to report suspicious financial activity and money laundering. Also, there are also a use of systems or open wallets that can receive and make payments or cash outflows without actually being detected. And this also is an opportunity for us to come up with ways of strengthening the regulatory environment so that we can capture these emerging areas in technology. The Office of the Regional has also done a bit of a collaboration because we don't actually exist in isolation, so that we can be able to look at the systems and governance structures in our institutions. We carry out performance audits we carry out also forensic audits on request. But more importantly, we have signed a collaboration with the other size African Organization of Supreme Audit Institutions and the Netherlands Courts of Audit and German International Cooperation Agency to carry out a performance audit on anti-money laundering. And this will actually help the country to look at those areas that probably we need to strengthen the structures that are in place, governance, and also the regulatory environment, so that we can be able to improve and also the structures that are in place to counter these menace of anti-money laundering. I want also to indicate that as auditors, we are supposed to comply with laws and regulations, and therefore it's also a collaborative approach that as we carry out our audit, we also comply with the laws that govern that governs the institutions and also the processes of governance in the country. We want also to take this opportunity to note that in these situations or discussing these issues on investigations and asset recovery, the office also participates in other areas, including also the move to identify areas where the government can improve. You can imagine the cash basis of accounting that has been used for the last 14 years since the advent of devolution. And we want to note that this year, the government has moved to a accrual basis of accounting. And you can imagine the assets that the government has been acquiring since independence. Those assets were never recorded, or they were expensed in the financial statements over the years. And this accrual basis of accounting will actually tackle the issues that where proceeds of crime or loss of public resources may not be actually traced. But once it is recorded and also followed up, then we expected that there will be improvement in transparency and accountability in the public sector. So let's all collaborate, and we urge also the institutions to collaborate with our investigative and also judicial system so that we can be able to fight these crimes. I want also to recognize the importance of reporting. Reporting, Parliament has been assisting also in follow-up of the follow-up on the prior year audited reports, and we have established a framework of follow-up with Parliament and also parliamentary committees, so that they can be able to know which recommendations have been actually implemented by the agencies or institutions of government. Previously, there was no a framework where we could actually advise the Parliament, the oversight committees, on how these recommendations they are issuing on our reports have actually been followed up. So we are happy to note that we have now a framework that will also assist the government and Parliament to follow up on these on the recommendations. Finally, I want to say this is a collaborative approach, and therefore let's learn, let's discuss, and open up so that we can be able to point areas of collaboration so that we can be able to fight these fights. Thank you, and I wish you good deliberation and fruitful discussion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cheboyo. We hear you and the independent role you play in auditing, and you have emphasized the need for enhancing the regulatory framework and the collaboration with the agencies that are responsible for investigations. I want to request our SLDP students to bear with us. I know you have a session coming up. We are almost coming to the tail end of this official opening ceremony. At this point in time, I want us to invite Mr. Mark Okonji, who is the Director General, Asset Recovery Agency, to make his statement on behalf of the agency. Feel most welcome, sir. Let's welcome with a round of applause. Karibu sana.
Thank you, Vincent. And I will also request that I ride on the protocols already observed. It is a distinct honor for me today to be here to make a few remarks at this stakeholder dialogue and capacity building workshop on financial investigations and asset recovery. This is an important forum in our collective effort to build a robust, coordinated, and effective response to financial crimes and the recovery of proceeds of crime and assets used for or intended for use in the commission of an offense or crime. And at this point,